You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Do it. Boom.
Let's
Boom.
do it.
Pre-show punch. Brought to you by, well, me.
Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Instead of having a fruit punch, have a Coca-Cola. Instead of having a pre-show punch, have a
Coca-Cola.
pre-show nudge. There you go.
All right. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. As always, I'm Robbie, this is Kyle. How you doing, buddy?
Doing okay, how about you?
Doing great. It's cold, it's February. It's actually a new month. The first day of February today.
It is February.
Yeah,
Oh my
February,
god.
everybody.
Yeah. It's February.
Yeah, happy February.
Hey.
It's exciting, but yeah, it's been cold and gray all week, and I'm ready for the sun to come back and
Yeah.
warmer weather and all
Yeah.
that good stuff. So,
We're
but
ready. We need it.
anyway, but we are so excited to be back with a new episode of On a Couch, and always excited to have our two sponsors, Zyman Organizing and Wes Woodson. Thank you to them as always for the support, and as always, their links will be in the description. When I say as always, I mean about 55% of the time. Actually, part of the reason why I say that their links will be in the description is to remind Kyle to put their links in the description.
I mean, I remember when I remember. Which
It's okay. We still love you. It's okay.
They're there now.
Yeah, they are there now, and that's half the battle. Knowing is half the battle. But anyway, on to tonight's episode, because it's a very exciting episode, Kyle. It is a 2-part episode.
2 parts.
Yeah, 2-parter, man.
That means next week you'll have to tune in for part 2 of part 1 and 2 of part.
No, you won't. No,
I'm just kidding. We're just gonna.
He's just like sort of building up the suspense and teasing you guys a little bit. No, both parts of tonight's episode will be in tonight's episode.
Yeah, you don't have to wait.
And so we thought we'd do tonight is discuss first off a sporting event that Kyle and I went to last week, and then do a little Super Bowl preview. Obviously, the Super Bowl is coming up a week from Sunday
That's right.
in Las Vegas. Very excited as always for Super Bowl Sunday. But first things first, before we get to that, so obviously we did not film an episode last week, and partially that was because Kyle and I had the occasion to make the trek into TD Garden, one of our favorite spots in Boston, in the Boston sports landscape. We weren't there for the Celtics. We were not there for the Bruins. No, we were there for the Women's Beanpot Final. That's right, you heard me correctly. The Women's Beanpot Final, which actually was being played for the first time at TD Garden this year. Now, if you've watched our episodes before, you'll know that Kyle and I have been to a few of the men's Beanpot games, which are always held the first 2 Mondays in February at TD Garden. But this year, the women's final had the opportunity to take center stage at TD Garden this past Tuesday, a week ago Tuesday. And it was a really awesome experience. It was BU versus Northeastern, and the game actually went to overtime. And for the second year in a row, Northeastern won the women's Beanpot title, winning 2-1 in overtime. And actually, now the more I think about it, Kyle, we may actually be good luck for the Northeastern women's hockey team, because the last 2 years in a row we've been to the women's Beanpot final, and both years Northeastern has won.
Oh yeah, good.
So
point.
I think that I think that we are the good luck charms for the Northeastern Husky women's hockey team. So
That's cool.
um,
You're welcome.
yeah. Well, check. You can send us a check, Venmo, anything like that. Just give us free tickets for life. Just to all your games.
That'll do just fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll be happy to root you guys on. But yeah, so Kyle, I guess let's just get into it. Just sort of some overall thoughts by you from, our experience a week ago obviously going to TD Garden, which is always a fun time, but seeing history in a sense, the first ever women's beat putt final being played there. Just sort of give me your overall thoughts on the experience here.
Yeah, that's right. They had kept forgetting that they haven't played at the Garden before. I mean, it's pretty sweet. But no, I mean, it was a great time as always. Loved watching the game. I thought the game itself was fantastic. It was a bit kind of slow to pick up, kind of sort of like, because before Robbie and I got there, or before we watched that particular game, we ended up watching the very tail end of another game.
Yeah, the consolation game, BC versus Harvard.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Won by one. Harvard won. Yeah, Harvard won that game in a shootout, which was pretty wild.
Yeah, and it's funny how both games went into overtime.
Yeah,
albeit kind of a different overtime results. But it was interesting. Yeah, it was definitely a bit slow at first because I feel like I think it was the first couple periods there weren't any scores, but it wasn't until the third period where they really kind of picked up. And that's where the game got really interesting, I thought. I mean, granted, both teams I thought played incredible. You could tell they were both there.
They were both there, Kyle. Yes, you're correct.
Well, as opposed to a certain football team that quite wasn't there in our league there, but we don't mention them, for this season, but that's okay. It was just the overtime I thought was really the best part, just because of how quickly everything unfolded. I thought that was great.
Yeah. I mean, it was fantastic. And Northeastern scored pretty quickly into overtime. I think it was only like less than a minute, or even just a minute into overtime to win it, which was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And even the end of the regulation though, because BU, like you said, was down 1-0 in the final minute of regulation, and ended up scoring the very last minute to force overtime, which I thought was pretty wild. So it was just a really crazy ending to the game, which I thought was
that was wild.
It was great. It was a great, like I said, great game, great atmosphere, and obviously, being a BC fan, I was definitely happy to see BU lose. So big thank you to Northeastern for that. If BC wasn't going to win it, definitely happy to not see BU win it either. So,
what was the final score again for that game?
2-1.
Oh, it was 2-1. That's right. I was trying to remember. I'm really bad at remembering scores for some reason. But it was so epic. It was just whoa, because it was just wild too. Because I remember the last minute, the last 50 seconds, BU got a last minute score.
Yeah.
And it was just whoa, we thought oh my god, what's gonna happen there? So it was just
yeah,
it was so tense.
It was, yeah, like I said, it was a great college hockey game to witness, and I just was so happy to. And the other part, Kyle, I kind of wanted to touch on about the experience was the crowd. I mean, again, first time at TD Garden, people really came out for it. I mean, the stands were completely packed. It was just a great environment, and I think it really sets up well for years to come, which hopefully we'll see them continue to play at least the finals there, if not maybe both rounds, semifinals and finals at TD Garden. But yeah, just talk about the crowd a little bit. I know you and I were talking about it off air, because it was a sight to behold for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell before we got there, for the friggin' consolation game, there was still a lot of people there. There were people from all these different schools from Massachusetts even, and all these different teams that were there, and different
high school youth teams.
Yeah, all ages pretty much.
Yeah.
It was people really came out for this game, and it was funny because the game was the game that we saw all the way through was a bit on the later side. So it did start at 8, because I feel usually the hockey games, they start anywhere between 6:30, 7 o'clock.
It was a double header. It was supposed to be 5 and 8. I think the BU Northeastern game didn't end up getting started till close to maybe 8:15, 8:30ish, because obviously the consolation game went into overtime and then a shootout. So that kind of. And then they need all the time to warm up and stuff like that. So it definitely sort of pushed things back a little bit. But
oh my god, that was
what are you gonna do?
No, but it was, hey, regardless, it was a hell of a game. I'm really glad we saw it. And yeah, I just loved it. Was just kind of like nice seeing all the support for these teams,
Yes.
and both pep bands were there, which is
Yeah.
cool because I missed seeing it last couple of games, so that was awesome.
Student sections were pretty full up, so it just
Hmm.
it was great to see. Yeah, like I said, I hope this is my if anybody from the Bean Pot or anything like that is watching this, please, at least keep the finals at TD Garden going forward. But please consider moving both the semifinals and finals there, because it was a great time. I do love the fact that Kyle and
It was
I
electric.
yeah, Kyle and I spent the entire time in between the consolation and the championship game waiting in line for dessert / ice cream.
We did, that was the time for it. Yeah.
That was something else.
And they gave out free shots of coffee.
Yeah, I know. Cool. It is the Beanpot is sponsored by Dunkin', so it makes a little bit of sense.
Bean
But
pot. There you go.
but yeah, I thought that was pretty wild. Like Kyle came and told me that, I was like, wait, what? Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It was like these little tiny like plastic Dunkin' Donut shot cups. And you could even pick what type of coffee you want. You could pick black coffee, or you could pick like with milk and sugar. And it was awesome. I was like, oh cool. Like obviously I didn't have that many shots because, when you have coffee past, at least when I have coffee past, then
everybody.
I ain't going to sleep. But yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do that like vodka or anything like that, but it was nice just having the option for coffee. I was like, this is great. Like just a right amount of coffee I needed to get me through the game. So that was good. That was good.
Yeah, no, it was a great, just like I said, just an overall great experience, and I'm so glad we were able to go.
Yeah.
And so
Do it again.
yeah, double thumbs up for that one. So I do want to move on to sort of part 2 of tonight's episode, and that is a little Super Bowl talk. Like I said, the Super Bowl coming up a week from Sunday in Las Vegas. You've got the Kansas City Chiefs, champions of the AFC, versus the San Francisco 49ers, champions of the NFC. Definitely should be a good battle there game-wise. But we all know, the Super Bowl is just about so much more than the game itself. I feel like there's the build-up, and then there's the entertainment, there's the commercials, and stuff like that.
Everything around it.
Everything around it. So, obviously, I want to touch a little bit on the game, but I also want to touch mainly on what we're looking forward to from the entertainment point of view.
Oh, yeah,
but
easily.
I do want to ask you, Kyle, first and foremost, when you think of this matchup, again, Kansas City, won the Super Bowl a year ago, third Super Bowl in 4 years for them, facing San Francisco, and actually what is a rematch of the 2020 Super Bowl that was won by Kansas City.
Oh, right. Okay.
So kind of interesting. I made the joke that it's kind of interesting that in the last 2 presidential election years, the same 2 teams have been in the Super Bowl. So I guess it's going to be Kansas City versus San Francisco in presidential election years from now on.
Oh my God, that's why I didn't realize that. That's funny.
But no, I just wanted to, again, just in terms of the game itself, just from your sort of a brief take on just your thoughts going into it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have a team I'm really rooting for that much either way. Like, I don't really care that much for either team, but if I had to choose one over the other, I'd probably choose San Francisco. Especially because I think they're more the underdogs in this case, because, Kansas City has had their, like you said, their fair share of wins and Super Bowl runs and stuff like that. So I think it's time for San Francisco to shine this time. So.
I agree with you. I am all aboard the 49er train for this game. A lot of it has to do with just the fact that I'm tired of Kansas City. I'm tired of their winning. Now I know how people felt about the Patriots during their sort of dynasty years. I'm tired of it. Also, I'm just so tired. Hey, listen, they're a couple. I get that. I respect them, but just Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift is just. I'm already getting T Swift, Travis Kelce exhaustion as I trigger Kyle with that comment.
I'm sorry. I don't have any ill will against those people, but you guys have heard my comment from the last episode. This is my. I still stand by my prediction. I feel like at some point, just based on, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. people are thinking I'm a Taylor Swift hater, but
I know after last episode, what was the last episode where you just went on that Taylor Swift rant? Like...
Yeah, I probably made some enemies in that, so I'm just gonna make a few more enemies after I say this. I think based on her track record with relationships, I think she's gonna end up dumping Kelsey, or something's gonna happen in the relationship, and he's gonna become a hit song.
I think the complete opposite, though. I think they're gonna go all the way. I think they're gonna get engaged.
They're gonna get the touchdown.
I think they're gonna get a touchdown. I think it's gonna be great because remember, Kyle, karma is a guy on the Chiefs. Okay, and I cannot take credit for that because she actually put that lyric into the song. She like changed up the lyric in one of her shows that she was at. So that's actually not an original line by me. That she actually did that at a show.
Oh, they're still gonna break up. I mean, yeah, you're right. The whole karma. I'm sure maybe karma will be after me for saying all that, but
remember, this is you can direct your hate comments right here to Kyle.
Yep, me right here, Taylor Swift.
Kyle's thoughts do not reflect the thoughts of me. In fact, I think unfortunately in this case they are the complete opposite of me. I just am tired of all the talk about them. I'm not tired of them. I don't mind them being a couple and all that. I'm just tired of all the talk and them showing her games. It's just it's gotten exhausting really quickly.
It's like,
and I just
we get it.
But also I just want the 49ers to win. I've been kind of pulling for the 49ers this year. Brock Purdy, from the last pick in the draft to making a Super Bowl. I just want the 49ers to get it done.
But I don't know. The Chiefs, they have the arrows behind them. They could pull through,
Hey, you never know.
Taylor Swift could make an appearance at the Usher halftime show.
Here's the interesting thing.
I don't know, maybe.
Well, no. Here's the interesting thing is that, obviously, she is, really, assuming she comes back for the game, it's going to be I'll show a lot of dedication from her because she's actually, I think either the night before or 2 nights before performing in Tokyo.
Oh my God!
She's gonna be in Tokyo and having to come from Tokyo, basically Back to the Future.
Wow.
Back to the Future or Back to the Past, I should say, from the future to the past, from Tokyo to Vegas for the Super Bowl. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how that works out. But yeah. So in terms of obviously it sounds like you and I are both picking the 49ers to win a week from Sunday. But I want to touch now on the broader entertainment of the Super Bowl, the build up, the commercials, the halftime show, everything. Are there maybe 1 or 2 things that you're looking forward to? Maybe this could be sort of things you look forward to in every Super Bowl. Are there a couple things that you're looking forward to the most in terms of, like I said, just when you see the Super Bowl and all its festivities come a week from Sunday?
Well, I will say I was always a big fan of the commercials for a while, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of gems of the for the commercials. But at the same time, just I feel like a lot of the commercials are getting too serious. They're like, oh, we want to bring up an important issue about a car and this, and it's like, okay, I'm sorry, I don't care. I just want to watch, this is the Super Bowl. It's just not the place to...
The commercials supposed to be fun and, different and stuff like that. Not that different.
You don't have to, bring all this, I don't know. It's just, it's this serious, bullshit that they do. I'm just like, okay, stop. And then, of course, the second they bring up this serious topic, then they're like, brought to you by Mazda, or brought to you by, Cracker Jack. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't give a shit. So, can we please just get to the funny stuff where you get actually have good ideas? Those are the commercials I'm excited for.
You're paying millions and millions of dollars for a 30-second commercial. Go all out, in a good way.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Who cares? It's the Super Bowl's supposed to be fun. It's not.
It really is.
It's
that's my favorite part. Also, is besides the game itself, it's the commercials. I just look forward to the game just to watch the commercials and see what the different commercials are. So, yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, definitely the commercials. I will say I have been becoming a huge fan of because it's now becoming the Super Bowl is now kind of a movie trailer showcase, if you will, and they're gonna show apparently they've I think they've rumored to show the Deadpool 3 trailer, which, if they do, I'm gonna be shaking. I'm gonna have to talk about it a lot when we during our next episode after that. So oh my god. So the movie trailers I love when they do the movie trailers. So I'm really excited about that too. So that's gonna be really fun. And yeah, I'm sure the halftime show with Usher will be a lot of fun too. So I don't like. I mean, like I don't have any strong feelings for Usher. I mean, I don't dislike him. I'm not gonna like call him out like Taylor Swift. Sorry, no, I don't dislike Taylor Swift. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I kid. But with Usher, I mean, I've always liked his songs, like the ones I've heard, and I think it's gonna be a fun show, and I'm curious to see if he's gonna bring any special guests, and yeah, so.
Maybe like Lil Jon. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, if they did that song again. Peace out.
A-Town. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the halftime show. I'm very excited to see. That's another part that I always enjoy, besides the commercials, is the halftime show, and hopefully Usher does a good job, and I'll be interested to see if there are any sort of other acts that perform along with him, and I'm just looking forward to another great game, and just hopefully, like I said, go 49ers. I'm pulling my full tilt behind the 49ers for this one, so nice. You go get them, guys. You got this.
You got it.
On a Couch Talking Sports is there for you.
Yep, we got you back.
Yes. We can't play, but we got your back from afar.
From in spirit.
Exactly.
In spirit, so.
All right. So now that we've gone both of our two segments, we made it through both part 1 and part 2, folks. You do not have to wait for another episode to see both segments of the show. So now we're gonna move on to segment 3, I guess, if you want to call it, of the show, our sort of usual end segment there with my final thoughts and the Sue's reviews. And for my final thought tonight, I actually wanted to pose a question to Kyle.
Okay.
Now, this was a question that I actually saw on Twitter the other day, or X as it's called now, but I still call it Twitter. Mm-hmm. Elon, come after me. Anyway.
Elon hate mail to this guy.
Yeah, seriously. But no, in all seriousness, I did see this question
and to
posed.
Me too. I'm not a big Elon fan, but anyways.
But I did see this question posed on Twitter the other day, and so I wanted to pose it to Kyle because I was kind of curious to hear your response to this question. I'll give you my response after as well.
Okay.
So, and for my variation of this question, I'm going to say that it can be either something, like professional sport, like professional, high school, college sports, or something personally sports related can be an answer to this question. So the question is, if you could go back in time and change the outcome of one sporting event, what would it be?
The outcome of one sporting event. Okay, so throughout my life, anything that I've physically been a part of sports-wise.
Watched, anything.
Or watch. Oh, okay. Or watch. Oh, okay. Oh boy. I mean, well, okay, played or watched. Because I was a part of this, and I think I could have done things differently. I'd say probably my senior year of high school football is, I think, a really good example. I had a great time sophomore year. I thought it was a fantastic season. Junior year was also a great season. Nothing groundbreaking there. Freshman year, played with this guy.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
My 1 year of high school football.
But senior year was kind of the year I just was like, I think there's times where I wish I stood up for myself a bit more in certain situations. And there's certain times I wish I could have played better in certain situations and just kind of handled certain situations better. Not that it was like the worst season of all time or anything, but I think if I had gone in with more of my mindset now, and I was able to actually kind of, just stand up for myself a little more and kind of like, and also maybe would have like played a little differently when it comes to like being a tackle and stuff like that, and maybe studied plays a little harder, then I would have gone with that approach. So I think if I won't go into too many specifics because I don't want to sit here for too long and talk about that, but maybe that'll be a whole nother episode or something like that down the line. But yeah, so I would say probably senior year of my high school football. I think that there's a lot of things I could have done differently if I would have just gone back and looked at it like a movie, like a movie that needed a lot of work. Then that's how I would. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. So my answer is a lot narrower than that, and my answer like sort of came into mind like within maybe 2 seconds of seeing the question. My
Nice.
answer is I would go back and change the outcome of the first Patriots Giants Super Bowl matchup when the Patriots were 18-0 and lost the Giants in the Super Bowl. I would change the outcomes of the Patriots would win and complete the undefeated season. The 18-1 season still like haunts me to this day and still haunts the Patriots to this day. Yeah. And I would go back and have them win that Super Bowl, period, end of story. So
all right,
that would be, like I said, that would be my response to it. But yeah, there's a lot of, you know, obviously depending on what team you have allegiances to or stuff like that, there were a lot of like different answers, variety of answers that I saw to that question. But I thought it was very, it was definitely a thinker. You know, you definitely like forced you to sort of think like, because obviously we've all witnessed like hundreds or even thousands of sporting events like in our lifetime. So it's like
whether we were a part of them or we watched them
or watched just, or you know whatever. It definitely like there's a lot of different ways that you could go with that. So that's how I felt. That's how sort of the way I decided to go, and Kyle obviously with a good one in and of his in and of himself. So so that's it for my final thought for the evening. So thank you for participating.
No, thank you. That was awesome.
So now, obviously, I want to turn the mic over, figuratively, obviously, to Kyle for another just absolutely riveting edition of the Sue's Reviews. So, Kyle, if you would please take it away. The Sue's Reviews, everybody.
All right. So I figured in the light of the upcoming Oscar season, because as we all know, after the Super Bowl comes the Oscars, you know, and usually within a couple weeks or so. I think at one point it was in March, but usually they put it in February. But I wanted to talk about one of the movies that has a lot of buzz this award season, and I believe it got nominated for a lot of awards, and it was also, I think, featured in the Golden Globes too for a lot of different awards. And this is a movie that a lot of people really enjoy. It got a lot of positive buzz, and I'm talking about the movie Poor Things. I ended up actually watching it a few weeks back, and honestly, I can see where people are coming from. I think it's a really great movie. It's kind of like it's a kind of a slightly different take on almost like a Frankenstein style story, but instead of, you know, having Frankenstein be like this green monster, the title role is actually the main role is actually played by Emma Stone, who I think gives one of the best performances I've seen in her entire career. And she's a great actress. She's had a lot of incredible roles throughout the year. I'm sure people remember her maybe when they grew up in, you know, the 2000s, they remember seeing her in like Superbad or Zombieland, and those are some of her earlier stuff. But I feel like as her career developed, she was in movies like Birdman with Michael Keaton, and she's always had a lot of great roles. But this one, I feel like she really is a star of this movie, and she really carries actually most of this movie on her back. And you know, that's not to say that there are a lot of other great actors in this movie as well, in the likes of Willem Dafoe, who's always great in everything he's in, and also Mark Ruffalo, which also I think is one of the best roles he's ever been in. He plays kind of a sleazeball, which is kind of out of character for Mark Ruffalo because he's usually very likable in a lot of his movies. Because I'm sure you guys remember him playing the Hulk in the Avengers series, and it's just kind of fun and different seeing him tackle a role he's not really used to playing. and I really liked that. So basically, without giving too much of the plot away, so the movie is kind of a slight sort of take on Frankenstein. It has like elements of like the classic Frankenstein story, but it's not really a Frankenstein movie. It's like it's kind of how basically this like doctor played by Willem Dafoe, who reanimates this dead woman back to life, and she essentially, but he puts in like the brain of like a child, so she kind of learns things like a child would, kind of, and it's very. And right off the bat, it's a very strange movie. You almost would think like Tim Burton directed it in certain scenes here and there, and the way that it looks. The movie looks beautiful, like the aesthetics and the backgrounds and everything. It feels almost like a if you remember watching Tim Burton's Big Fish, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But the movie does have a very unique identity, and just kind of seeing how this character develops, how Emma Stone's main character, like just seeing her, and you kind of see her on this sort of personal journey. It's almost like a coming of age story, and I really liked just watching her just go throughout this like really big adventure. And the movie honestly overall is very empowering in a lot of ways. And there's also a lot of sex, but and there's a lot of sex and nudity, so don't bring the kids to this one. This is just the adults here. Yeah. So yeah, this movie is definitely a hard R. But despite, and it's funny because I haven't seen a movie with this much amount of sex in a long time, but the way they do it in this movie, though, they somehow are able to do that, but also make it very empowering, especially for her character. And you're going to see how it kind of plays out. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's got some really good messages in it. And it's a great watch. I really recommend you guys watch it. Even if you're not trying to watch all the award-winning movies, if you're just trying to watch a good movie in general, just check it out. It's called Poor Things. And it's directed, I feel bad. I can't pronounce the director's name to save my life. I think it's Yorgos. I'm so sorry, but he's the same guy who did what was it called? The Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Favorite. That was the other Oscar kind of nominated one he did a few years back. So definitely check it out. Great movie. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Kyle, for that riveting review. Definitely you folks, as always, should listen to Kyle, because he's the Suze and he reviews, so what more could you ask for? But anyway, I want to thank everybody as always for tuning into tonight's episode, and as always, you can catch us here on YouTube. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Again, please don't catch us in real life. Big time thank you, by the way. Oh, and also remember, all Taylor Swift, hate comments go to Kyle.
And Elon Musk to both of us.
Elon Musk to both of us, yeah. But yeah, so big thank you as always to our sponsors, Diamond Organizing and Wes Woodson. Links will be in the description. And one more quick plug before we go. Screen Time with Doug and Kyle just put out a brand new episode earlier this week, and folks, it was fantastic. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they had a very special guest on, which just watching it live on YouTube looked like an awesome conversation, and you guys should totally watch the latest Screen Time episode.
Oh yeah, you guys.
Period, end of story.
You guys will love it. I'll even post a link in the description as well. It's a really fun time. Like, you learn a lot of stuff from the special guests, and it was just so interesting hearing this guy's stories and everything. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Absolutely. So again, thanks for joining us for this edition of On a Couch Talking Sports, and as always, he's Kyle, I'm Robbie, and we'll see you next time from the couch to talk more sports. Bye, everybody. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. As always, I'm Robbie. I don't know why I hit myself that hard while doing that, but I'm Robbie. This is Kyle. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. There we go. just gonna hit myself.
Thank you. Thank you for I don't even know. Thank you what I'm thanking you for, but thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Whatever it is, thank you. Yeah.
The chest, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You're a team player. You and I are committed to the bit.
We get each other.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, it's great to be back for another episode, and it's always great to have sponsoring tonight's episode, as always, Zyman Organizing and Wes Woodson, just two amazing sponsors of the show, and we really appreciate them. And as always, their links will be in the description. Yes, they will.
As most of the time.
Most of the time. About 55% of the time.
I mean, let's just put it this way. They're there now.
Yeah. The part of the reason I say that is to remind Kyle to put the links in the description for each episode.
They're all there. They all were there, ended up there at some point,
Sorry, it's okay. We still love you.
Hey.
Anyway, so on to tonight's episode, shall we? Tonight's episode is going to be a 2-part episode because we've got 2 different things we want to discuss.
Which means you'll have to watch part 1 tonight, and then stay tuned for part 2 next week. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to do both.
It's going to be both parts of the same episode. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I like the enthusiasm though. I like it.
Just wanted to build it up,
Yeah, exactly.
Get the suspense going.
That's right. Gotta leave them on a little cliffhanger there, a little teaser,
Yeah.
But anyway, it is a 2-part episode tonight because so for part 1, last week, Kyle and I obviously did not film an episode of On a Couch Talking Sports, and that was partially because we went to another really exciting sporting event. It was we gotta start over. I completely flubbed that up.
Okay.
Sorry, no, we gotta restart because I for some reason just in the middle of that just kind of lost myself and it just
lost your train of thought.
Lost my train of thought and it sounded weird. And I tried to get it back and I didn't like the way that sounded.
Just kind of get the ball rolling. Yeah, I got you.
We'll just take 2.
Yeah.
Nobody saw anything.